Good morning, Bimblers, and you join me here in Ainsdale for episode 4 of our Pennine Bimbles. It might not look like I'm in Ainsdale because I'm hiding in a bush. That's to get out of the wind. The BBC said that it would be 6 mile an hour winds today, and that's turned out to be rubbish. But we soldier on. We're going to see how far we get. So let's stop messing about and let's bimble. Let's bimble.
Things to show me, but life just keeps turning back to the way things were before. All new this time, you would still see all that became attached from the way things were before. It just proves to me how it's meant to feel. We have motive, we have the time. We were meant to lead extraordinary lives. It changed with time. You still know me. We just keep facing by.
This funny little path we're on at the moment is called the Cheshire Lines path, and that's named after the railway company that used to own it, the Cheshire Lines Committee. The Cheshire Lines Committee was formed in 1863, and at the time it was the second largest joint railway company in the UK. If you've ever visited Warrington, you'll know that there's an old goods warehouse that says Cheshire Lines on it in giant sandstone letters. It's some flats now, but it used to be the warehousing for the Cheshire Lines Committee. But what is a joint railway? Well, it's when lots of little small railway companies and railway lines get together and form one big railway company so that they can compete with another joint railway company that's lots of little railway lines all joined together forming one big company. The Cheshire Lines Committee was lots of little railway companies, too numerous for me to remember off the top of my head, so I shall consult the big book of Bimble. The Manchester, Sheffield and Lincolnshire Railway, the Great Northern Railway, the Stockport and Woodley Junction Railway, the Cheshire Midland Railway, the Stockport, Timperley and Altrincham Junction Railway, the West Cheshire Railway, and the Garston and Liverpool Railway. This line that we're on right now is the Southport and Cheshire Lines Committee Extension Railway line, another company, and it used to run from all the way down in Aintree, which is the direction that we're heading, into Southport, taking people on the days out or on the holidays. The line formed in 1884 and was used right up until 1952 when it was closed to passengers. It carried on for about 6 months and then it closed completely and they took the lines up. And I reckon in the 1990s they decided to make it into a cycle path and make it part of the Pennine Trail for us to bimble down towards Aintree.
Things were before. It just proves to me how it's meant to feel. We have motive, we have the time. We were meant to lead extraordinary lives. It changed with time. You still know me. We just keep facing back to the way things were before.
Well, Bimblers, we took a detour off National Cycle Route 62 to visit Sefton. And Sefton is where the borough of Sefton gets its name. The borough of Sefton includes Southport and Ainsdale and Formby. And here in Sefton, it's also where the Earl of Sefton comes from. And the Earl of Sefton is the man that sold Sefton Park to Liverpool City Council, which we've bimbled to in the past. In the beautiful parish of Sefton, you have the beautiful parish church of St Helen. It's been consecrated ground since 1170, but it's believed because the churchyard is oval shaped, it's most likely a Saxon burial ground, which means there could have been religious activities here going back to the 5th century. Just like most churches, things have been added and things have been took away. But two of the oldest things in this church are the bells. They were installed in 1588 and they were made by a man called Henry Oldfield. 20 years later, they ordered another 2 bells off him. And in 1945, they ordered a further 2 bells. This time not from Henry Oldfield, but from John Taylor & Co. John Taylor & Co. made the big bell in St Paul's Cathedral. And they also make the big bell that Brian Johnson rides in on, you know, at the AC/DC concerts, when they do Hell's Bells. That's John Taylor & Co. that made that. Around the corner from St Helen's Church is St Helen's Well. And St Helen apparently died in about 320. And it's said that she was married to a Roman emperor, Constantius Chlorus. And they split up over political differences. And after they'd split up, she went on a pilgrimage to the Holy Land. And the reason why she's a saint is because she built 2 churches over there. One church that's believed to be the birthplace of Jesus Christ, you know, the inn with the stable at the side and the manger and that. And another one by the cave where Jesus risen after 3 days. St Helen's Well here in Sefton is believed to grant you prayers. Apparently if you take a pin and throw it down the well, and you can still see the pin from the top of the well in the bottom of the well, your prayer will be answered. It's been covered over now. Evidently too many prayers were answered. Let's bimble. Eagle-eyed bimblers may recognise where we are right now. We're at the side of the Leeds-Liverpool canal, and we've visited here before in my Liverpool Loop Line video nearly a year ago now, which seems decades in Bimble years. I didn't really know how to use this camera back then, and it kept going out of focus. Plus I had hair. But you'll have to forgive me, because I'm going to repeat myself. We can't go down National Cycle Route 62 and not mention the Leeds-Liverpool Canal. Plus, new bimblers may not have seen that bimble. The Leeds-Liverpool Canal is 127 miles long and it has 91 locks, and originally it went from Stanley Dock in Liverpool to Neville Street in Leeds. And you'd be expecting me to say that bits had been cut off and it wasn't as long anymore. However, it's actually longer now. They actually added a bit. In 2009, they had a £22 million project to extend the Leeds-Liverpool Canal into Liverpool city centre. Prior to that extension, if you wanted to get to the Albert Dock in Liverpool, you had to leave Stanley Dock and go into the River Mersey, which seemed terrifying, and you would take a very choppy journey down to the Albert Dock. It's actually in a documentary presented by Matthew Corbett. Yes, that's right, Sutty's dad. And him and a couple of dozen other boats take the journey down the Mersey. It's quite apt that the last section of the Leeds-Liverpool Canal to be dug is right next to the first section of the Leeds-Liverpool Canal to be dug. That was this bit. The first sod of the canal was dug in 1770 in a place called Horsehall, which is a little bit north of here. That happened on the 5th of November. So I wonder whether they had treacle, toffee and fireworks after. They probably just had champagne and wore top hats, didn't they? The chief engineer of the canal was a John Longbotham, but he wasn't the first choice. The first choice was James Brindley, obviously, friend of the channel. The man that built the Bridgewater Canal, both of them, and got all the water out of the Wet Earth Colliery. He would be an obvious first choice, but he'd taken on too many jobs and he couldn't quite fit it all in. And unfortunately, John Longbotham had done exactly the same. He'd been busy surveying the Grand Western Canal in Devon and also the Lancaster Canal, which we've bimbled down before. Eventually the Leeds-Liverpool Canal Company got a little bit fed up with him and they sacked him. And he had a few business ventures that went sour and he ended up dying without a penny to his name. The Leeds-Liverpool Canal Company actually paid for his funeral, probably because they felt a little bit guilty. The Leeds-Liverpool Canal would make a pretty good bimble, wouldn't it? A couple of overnight stops, maybe in the summer. Who knows, let's bimble. This is the 1521 Bimbleism Loop Line service to West Derby. West Derby, your next station stop.
Maybe it didn't work at the time, maybe it never did. A mistake that made the distance, or a trying way to live. Maybe it's the time that you grabbed at my arms and electricity flowed from my shoulders to palms in a white hot glow, leaving white cold scars left bare and unshowed just to prove they were ours. Maybe it worked, maybe it never did, maybe it never was quite like how it is. Maybe it
This is West Derby Station, and we visited here before in a previous video, my Liverpool Loop Line video. Only in that video I accidentally called it Derby Road Station, but it was too late. I'd already got home and I was editing the video. West Derby Station is on the old Liverpool Loop Line, or to give it its proper name, the North Liverpool Extension Line. Not quite got the same ring to it. The line was built by the Cheshire Lines committee, and it linked Aintree down there and Hunts Cross down there, and it would have linked onto the existing rail line that still exists today, the one that goes between Liverpool and Southport, the one I got on this morning to go to Ainsdale, and it would have formed a loop, hence Loop Line. It was built in 1879 and closed in 1972, and there was talks about reopening it and having a Merseyrail service run down it, but it never came to be. And in 1979 they closed it and ripped up the tracks. West Derby Station closed long before that though. It closed in 1964 and it closed to passengers in 1960. Now it's a shop and someone's house. Lucky buggers. These days it makes up National Cycle Route 62, and if you like your trains and you're a little bit of a railway buff, you need to have a Bimble down it, because there's loads of old railway infrastructure still here. Bridges and stations and big long dark tunnels. The next stop is Knotty Ash, where the Jambutty mines are. I made that joke last time as well. That's Bimble.
Left lonely as it gives, or maybe it's the time that you closed both your eyes and you pouted your lips as you waited for mine in the soft red glow of your soft cold arms. Serotonin burnt holes through my veins to my heart. Maybe it worked, maybe it never did, maybe it never was quite like how it is.
Lunch, yeah. It doesn't happen very often, but sometimes you get a puncture. I always keep a spare inner tube in my little toolkit, and despite using 25 to 35 pound bikes, that's monetary value, not weight, I do happen to have a 75 pound foot pump which I imported from Australia. Comes in very useful, especially if you're all legs like me. Let's continue and finish the Bimble. Let's Bimble.
In the soft red glow of your soft cold arms, serotonin burnt holes through my veins to my heart. Maybe it worked, maybe it never did, maybe it never was quite like how it is. Maybe it's the time that I wanted to say that my limbs won't move more than 2 feet away from your day glow side luminescent sparks. I could burst into flames from one beat from your heart. Maybe it worked, maybe it never did, maybe it never was quite like how it is. Maybe it worked, maybe it never did, maybe it never was quite like how it is. And I quite like how it is.
Well, Bimblers, we made it. Not completely unscathed. Got filthy hands. But we made it to Hunt's Cross. Objective accomplished. So next time, we're going to head to Speak and Hale and hopefully make it to Widnes. So until next time, happy bimbling.